Welcome to the Brothers Sinatra podcast, the only podcast with two swinging brothers talking about
brothers?
One Piece. I'm Jack Sinatra.
And I'm Tyler Sinatra. And
we're
the Brothers
Sinatra. And we got a great show for you today. You know, Tyler, a king is but a man, and a crown is but a hat. But
Just
two real
fancy
brothers, now that's where it's at.
Oh, and it rhymed. I like
Yeah.
how you tied that one up.
Yeah.
I think if a crown were a hat and a king is just a name, then two brothers, I think we'd get it all the same.
Hey, there you go. That's off the
I
dome,
didn't even
too.
write
Yeah.
that one down.
You're a poet, and you didn't even realize.
Yeah.
So
I don't mean to rhyme, but I do it often. I do it pretty often.
yeah, you do it, mostly. Listen to us on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, wherever you get those podcasts. Hit the buttons around the podcast. So,
Yeah.
A heart, a thumbs up, any stars. If you
Yeah.
can do a star rating, I highly recommend
Sometimes
5
it
of
says
those
subscribe
stars,
or like follow or something
Sure.
like that.
follow
You could
us,
do those.
subscribe, whatever you can do to make sure that whenever
It's
one of these comes out,
the
you
free
get
option,
a million
the f-
messages about it.
Yeah,
and it,
make sure you get
berates you really
notifications.
into listening. That would
Make
be
sure
excellent.
you get double notifications so it
Absolutely.
really bothers you.
But if you're following us on the various social media platforms that we're on, it's hard to miss, one of these as they come out. So
Hard to miss.
Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, okay? A bunch of them. We have a Threads account. I never talk about it. Nobody looks at it.
Nobody
but it's
cares
there.
about Threads.
We're
have
probably
it.
going to decommission it, to be honest with you. I don't understand the point. Nobody
yeah.
really, who has Threads as their primary?
I don't know.
It makes no
Jackie, I don't
sense.
know.
It's
I
just
don't
like
know.
something extra where when you do something on Instagram, or if you're just, on Instagram, they're like, hey, check out this thing on Threads. And it's like, no, I don't want to do that.
I'm
okay?
not gonna.
And people
Maybe
don't.
if it was like a Blue Sky account, I might click.
Oh,
But even Blue Sky, I'm like, ugh.
yeah.
sorry.
I mean, I only have room for so many apps in my social media bucket, okay?
To be fair, I don't even really try to interact with social media because I'm one of those people that when like you read the social media, you get really like you feel something
Yeah.
about it.
You
and
get a
have
little,
to type.
you get flustered. You get a
I
little
get
hot,
flustered,
okay?
and I gotta type back and say stuff. And sometimes, folks, I say very mean things to people on the internet.
Yeah, even when you don't mean to. You made
Even
that
when
poor,
I don't mean to.
that
Sometimes
poor
it's a joke.
12-year-old child in the comments.
Yeah,
He deleted his account because of you.
Deleted an entire account because of a joke, and I thought it was funny. And
In any case, if you want to see Tyler, completely make a fool of
I
himself
grew up in
as he
Call
tries
of
to
Duty
communicate.
lobbies, and I feel like the things that I think are like really, really like the most tame.
It was the Wild
interaction
West back
that
in
you
the
can
day,
have
folks. I mean,
on the internet.
you could
I
say
just
anything.
Right. I feel like I'm being nice to you.
Yeah.
How could you spiral in any way? I have no idea. Anyway,
I grew up on the Xbox Live streets, okay?
yeah, you were getting called words.
I was calling people words. But we won't
tried
call
not
you any
to.
words at veryentertaining.biz, which is where you should go to find all these various things if you don't want to, go to Instagram and search for our name,
Yeah.
You couldn't be bothered to do that. So you go to
Couldn't be bothered.
veryentertaining.biz and you can just kind of like click, click, click to get to whatever you need, all right? So, Tyler, this is kind of our last planned episode as we're talking about the live-action One Piece. We're doing Two Brothers, One Piece for the last time? No, probably not.
Probably
We're
not,
going to have
no.
plenty more One Piece stuff coming up, but we have a real
Yeah.
decision to make on kind of where we're going next week. But we'll talk
I
about
hate
that
decisions
in real time at the end. I
and
know
the
you do.
responsibility.
So, if you've been listening, I don't know why this would be your first podcast with us, because we've done kind of a full Season 2 overview. We've done little breakouts for each of the arcs that we've gone on. So, this is the last arc. It's the last 3 episodes. And just to give you a quick reminder, or if you're here for the first time, I don't really know much about One Piece. I've seen these live-action episodes. I've seen Season 1. I've seen Season 2. and I haven't really seen any of the anime other than when I happen to be in the same room as my wife, who is now in, the 600-ish episode region of the
Oh,
anime.
folks.
So
I definitely got her addicted. I'm taking the blame for it because I know a little something about One Piece. I've seen every episode of the anime, maybe skipping a few of the filler ones, and I've read the manga. That being said, I do not have a steel trap of a memory, so sometimes I
you're
get
going to
things
get some
wrong.
stuff wrong.
I get some stuff wrong.
And that's okay.
That's
We're
okay.
not here to get 100%, okay?
No.
We're just here to give our feedback on
Right.
what we're seeing on the screen and
That's
try
what
to
we're
provide
doing.
some context when we can. And that's all we can do,
Imagine that.
okay?
Stop trying to make me be perfect. I'm not perfect.
Stop
I
being
just
so mean to Tyler.
try to add
okay?
a little bit of context. Internet
It's
comments.
okay for Tyler to get some stuff wrong.
I'm allowed
all right?
to get things wrong.
It's like, I'm going to get a lot of stuff wrong because I'm just here asking questions. I don't know.
Yeah, but then nobody blames
what,
him for getting
Oh, no,
things
nobody
wrong or
blames me. They're
asking
very kind
questions
to
about
me.
the content.
They're very angry at Tyler.
Very angry at me.
Very upset at a lot of
Sometimes
stuff
people
that he
say I'm
says
doing a
with
disservice
supposed
to my brother.
authority. Yep.
Incredible.
Yep. So let's get into it, Tyler, with the Sinatra stats, and we're not going to go blow by blow on everything like we would do at the beginning here, but just to remind you, we're in Season 2. They call it Into the Grand Line, which, hardly anybody says.
No
We're
one says
going
it.
to episodes 6 through 8, all right? This is an 8-episode season, so this is that last piece as we're on Drum Island. And then, this is finally, we get to our TV rating. This is TV 14, and we finally get the old, kick the bucket piece in this episode, okay? So violence, suicide, language, smoking. We kind of get it all in this one. So all of that rating, comes to bear
You better get
in
ready
this set
for
of
it.
episodes.
Yeah.
We got our showrunners, Matt Owens and Joe Trace, for this season. There's gonna be new showrunners every season. I feel like people are gonna come in. They're gonna be here, and we won't really know the effect of that until down the line. We're not gonna go through all of the starring cast. You know these people well at this point, except we are gonna mention Michaela Hoover as the voice and the facial capture for one Tony Chopper. Okay, so
He's
Chopper
a
is
doctor.
here. All right.
Tony Chopper.
Oh, he's got a little song, too. And
He
then
does.
you got a couple doubles. So there was an actor named Nakone Mametja. Okay, I'm sure I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Oh, yeah.
She was Chopper's on-set proxy so that they had a real person there that the actors could act with. And then you also had Gavin Gomez as Heavy Point Chopper, okay? The big,
He's a big boy.
Sasquatch Chopper, and he was doing all of the, the fighting and body work and all of that. And then obviously Michaela Hoover's voice was kind of patched in over the top of that. So that is it as far as kind of the main cast, but then we also have some featuring players in here. We got, get this, Tyler, Mark Haralick as Dr. Look.
Oh. Did they do that on purpose?
I feel like the casting director just had a pile of names, and they saw the names side by side, and they were like, get this guy
Gotta
in.
do it. We gotta get this guy. And then he
Turns
just
out,
happens to
did a
look
pretty
like
good
the
job.
guy. Did
Yeah.
a great job.
Yeah. I wonder if that was his real hair, too,
Maybe.
Kinda had It's almost the Cynthia from
That would be
Rugrats,
an incredible
you know?
endeavor. It was the Cynthia hair, but with like a back tag on it. It had the back. It was like Cynthia mullet.
Yeah. And then we had Katie Sagal as Dr. Correja, okay, from Married with Children fame.
Also, the voice of Taranga Leela in Futurama.
And I apologize. I don't know if it's Sagal or Segal. We're probably going to flip-flop between the two of them as we go through this whole thing. Married with Children was like a little bit before my prime TV time, so I'm aware of it. It was on TV, but, I grew up more in the Seinfelds and the, real...
The
meat of the Simpsons, era.
Yeah. Oh, geez. Yeah, the Simpsons were. And, folks, original run of Family Guy. That was also, that was like,
Yeah.
oh.
I got to it after it was already canceled, and then it like came back as I was getting into it.
Yeah, it went to the Cartoon Network slot on the Adult Swim.
Yep.
What a funny way how TV and like acquisitions of different like media companies affected just how the youth consumed television. Anyway, sorry,
Tyler,
we don't need to talk about
pro-capitalism. We got Dalton, played by Ty Keogh. Oh, yeah. Our guy Dalton, he's a real firebrand, Tyler. He's a real ball of energy, that one.
We love him.
We got Mark Penwill as Chess, who I don't know if he's ever actually named, but he's the Archer guy.
His name is Chess, but
guy.
I don't think they ever say his name.
And then we also got Kuramarimo, who I'm sure is not named either. He's the guy with the adhesive afro. And that's played by Anton David Jefta. And then, of course, we have real Italian Rob Coletti as Wapol, Tyler.
Oh, yeah.
Good to get an Italian man on the throne.
Yeah, you gotta. It's good to have an Italian sitting on the throne, Jackie. It's true.
And then we also get a brief little visit from Yonde Thomas as our guy Igarum in some flashbacks. So he's not with us anymore, but he's still in our hearts, okay? And we appreciate that.
We do.
And we also get a snapshot of our guy Dragon, in the context of a meeting. They just have him on a photograph. So
they're like, "Ooh, look at this bad man! Look at this hooded figure."
Played by Rigo Sanchez. All right, so let's get into the spoilers now. This is a spoiler alert. Be alerted to the spoilers.
I feel alert.
And Tyler, I'm sure you're going to have a lot of spoilers in your incredibly short Sinatra summary. Go for it, Tyler. Sinatra summary.
This is actually one of the longer ones.
Oh, there you go.
But that's okay.
It's 3 episodes,
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff to cover. Our Straw Hat protagonists attempt to set course for Alabasta, but Nami falls ill.
Oh.
Now, our Straw Hats must find the crazy old Dr. Witch Lady with her beastly companion on the nearest, probably winter-themed island known for their medicinal acumen. Unfortunately, the island's community has been ravaged by an irredeemable, cowardly, absentee king, Wapol, and the mysterious warlord, Blackbeard. Now the crew must scale a mountain, save Nami, have an episode-long flashback, and save the island town from its own king, who has returned to claim his birthright after hearing of the departure of the odious Blackbeard, and receiving a devil fruit power for his contribution to the assassin group, Baroque Works.
Yeah, that was a lot more detailed than normal for you.
A lot more than normal. I tried to put some mustard on it for you.
I liked it. I, too, put mustard, a lot more mustard on mine.
Yeah, I bet. I bet it's going to take a whole 5 minutes to read, too.
You're not wrong, Tyler. The first episode, Nami Dearest, spelled like, the animal deer. They did a lot of wordplay with the deer in these 3 episodes, okay? So, 4 days
time's going.
after...
Your clock's going.
I refuse that. 4 days after Nami fainted en route to Alabasta, the crew's new priority is to find a doctor at the closest island, which happens to be Drum Kingdom, where Vivi warns of political tensions because her dad, King Cobra, and their king, Wapol, had an argument about the treatment of revolutionaries years ago. Turns out, Wapol fled Drum with all but one of the island's doctors to escape the ransacking pirate Blackbeard. While away, he's gifted a devil fruit by a sultry Miss All Sunday for giving money to the Baroque Works. On Drum Island, the crew finds the people, represented by Wapol's ex-god Dalton, that they're in recovery from Blackbeard's attack. They're really just trying to rebuild. And they're living in a Game of Thrones-looking encampment. Despite Dalton's insistence on waiting for the morning, Luffy and Sanji drag Nami up the sheer cliff face of a mountain to find possible witch Dr. Correa, a.k.a. Dr. Reen, the only doctor left, who has taken residence in Wapol's former castle. Luffy, Sanji, and Nami all collapse after the climb, but are rescued by Correa's furry assistant, Chopper. Chopper and Correa treat Nami's weird disease and tend to Luffy and Sanji's injuries. Meanwhile, Smoker and Tashigi roll up to a marine base and find the garrison massacred by otherwise ineffective Baroque Works assassins Miss Thursday and Mr. 11, who are killed and incapacitated respectively. On to Reindeer Shames. Correa tells the present crew the story of Chopper's past, unleashing a flashback. We see the shape-shifting Tony Chopper as he's adopted, named, and raised by the eccentric Dr. Hiraluk, another fugitive from Walpole's physician hoarding. Hiraluk shows Chopper a Jolly Roger with cherry blossoms and shares his dream of finding a cure-all inspired from a medical marvel he witnessed in his past. After attempting a Harry and the Hendersons with Chopper, Hiraluk is given a rough prognosis by Correa, so an eavesdropping Chopper procures a mushroom that he believes is a cure-all medicine, but is actually a deadly poison. Hiraluk drinks it anyway, and with a ticking clock, he travels to Walpole's castle and fights his way in to heal some supposedly sick doctors, only to discover that it was a trap. Held at gunpoint, Hiraluk gives a speech about dreams, and he blows himself up, leading to a TV-14 rating. Dalton spares a raging Chopper and is fired for insubordination by Walpole, leading to the current state of affairs minus the Blackbeard saga. In the present, Walpole and his lieutenants arrive back at Drum to reclaim it and capture a scouting Dalton. Dear and loathing in Drum Kingdom. Walpole regurgitates his creepy hybrid soldiers created with his devil fruit power, and they set out to attack Drum. Dalton, Zoro, and Usopp lead the civilians in defending the town, but the soldiers are seemingly invincible. Vivi heads to the castle to warn the crew about Walpole's return, but Walpole and his lackeys follow close behind. Sanji and Chopper defeat the two henchmen, while Luffy and Vivi fight Walpole. Walpole tries to shoot Hiraluk's Jolly Roger, but Luffy blocks it and sends Walpole out a window, which ends up destroying the freak soldiers by vampire rules. Nami has recovered from her illness, and Chopper joins the Straw Hats as a doctor. Correa and Dalton release Hiraluk's cure-all pink drink, creating the appearance of cherry blossoms, and talk about the will of D. The Straw Hats tell Vivi that they will help her save Alabasta before seeking the One Piece, and finally, we see Mr. Zero, and he's revealed as Sir Crocodile, and he plans to capture Alabasta in his quest for the One Piece. Meanwhile, Miss All Sunday's name is revealed as Nico Robin, and all signs point to Alabasta in Season 3. There you go. What are your thoughts,
close.
Tyler?
I was pretty close.
See, I came in under.
4 minutes and 4 minutes 22 seconds is a pretty good guess for the 5 minutes. Yeah,
It's like 90 seconds per
That's not too
episode.
bad.
That's not
no,
bad.
it's pretty good. I was actually going to remark the first two were like almost exactly 90 seconds, but I'm like, don't say anything. If you interrupt him, it will ruin the integrity of the test you're doing
true.
right now.
All right, so any overall thoughts here before we get into our 5 best, 5 worst, and all of that?
So, yes, I've got some thoughts. It's a good but not perfect end to a season, folks. Coming from a little bit of extra knowledge, knowing what comes next, knowing what came before, all of that stuff, just having the burden of, like, sort of knowing the process coming up to it, too, I know there's limitations and budget restraints to this live action. I would have chosen a different arc to end on. I understand that has nothing to do with, like, I would have found a way to make this season, like, 12 episodes. I would have said, guys, we gotta, and give us Alabasta, and end it with that. I don't know how that would have shaken out, but especially because in the previous episodes I've said I want more ultimately the problem is I want more of it, and I feel like that's a good problem to have. I just think because of this 8-episode limitation, the pacing suffers a little bit. Not too much, but for the people who complain about the pacing of the anime, this is a rough thing to sort of get over for your live action. And if this is my biggest qualm, that I just want a little bit more of the content, I think that's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I think it's sort of just because of the way they had to end, in the timing they had to end, what arc they had to end on. Wapol in the anime is more of like a comedic villain. And it's hard to have the same Arlong Park ending of the first season with this. It was more heartfelt, yes, very nice, a little teary-eyed, but to go from the action-packed Arlong Park ending, we're gonna go, on our adventure. It's, heartfelt goodbye with our new... It's just a different energy at the end.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really, we're adding a new member to the crew in this one, and that is kind of the main focus of these 3 episodes, is the introduction of Chopper and the adding of Chopper to the crew. Whereas in the last season, it was kind of Nami's arc that was a much longer arc throughout the season, finally like tying a bow on that. And so if you would, it's hard to compare the two because they kind of have different goals. We didn't have the same, we didn't have the same type of, we have a falling out with a member of the crew and they're on the outside and then they have to come back in. It's more like, here's Chopper, here's his story, and we're getting him in the crew, within the last 10 minutes or so. I think you could feel a lot of exposition dumping as well in these 3 in particular. It's kind of our first real introduction to the world government in any way other than mentioning it. We kind of see aspects of it for the first time. And from the get-go, when All Sunday is talking to Wapol at the very top, she's saying a lot of stuff about, and let me just see here, like, Wapol is exiled, we get a King Cobra reference, we get the financial backing of the Baroque works, we get a Blackbeard mention, all in that first, 30 seconds, and we never see Blackbeard. Nope. We don't really get a lot of King Cobra other than in that one reverie scene that we'll definitely talk about. So there's a lot of stuff that is said that if you have a point of reference from the anime, you kind of understand what they're saying. But if you're like me, that stuff that the first time I watched it, I didn't even absorb it. The second time I went back, I caught more of these things. Like the King Cobra reference completely went over my head at first, and then the second time I was like, oh, they actually did attempt to set up a lot of this, kind of right at the beginning. And then at the very end, there's also some exposition dumping that we'll definitely talk about as well. But overall, an enjoyable set of episodes. I think the first one of the 3, it has to be the shortest episode of the season. Including credits, it was 45 minutes. So I think that was one of the tightest, and I think if they gave us 10 plus 45-minute episodes, maybe that is the way to go instead of 8 solid hours.
Who knows, Jackie? We're not in the room. It's hard being on the outside.
But I think 6 might have been my favorite overall. 7 is really good. It has some of the best moments, but it's kind of a pet peeve of mine in shows where the episode before the finale.
Save it for the Demerits. We're gonna talk. Well, it's and we can just get into it at this point. So let's start with the good. We're gonna go nothing but the best first. This is the 5 best parts, starting at 5. And Tyler, go ahead with your number 5. My number 5 is the characterization of Wapol. I just said in my little introduction, he's a comedic villain in the anime. And honestly, they made him kind of cool. It's hard. Cool's not the right word. Because he's mean and gross and he hits Vivi as a kid. Yeah. But he's not a joke. It's not funny. He is mean. And he has, what do the kids say, aura? he definitely's got one of those.
He's got an
I don't
aura
know
for sure.
what kind of aura it is, but it's not funny, and I do not like him. And that
It's
is
funny from time to time.
Yeah, but like only because of
He's
I think
so
it's because of how
unredeemable.
he looks.
He's
It's
so
like
unredeemable and so like
so bad. It's
so
like,
bad.
and I think it's a testament to the act. And I should say, what was his name again?
I think Rob Coletti, if I'm not
Rob
mistaken.
Coletti. Yeah,
I never
yeah.
forget
It's
an
a
Italian
good.
man's
That's.
name.
Yeah, I do. Rob Coletti. It's a testament to him. He really put some mustard on it. No, he really.
Yeah, I mean,
does a great. He makes him a villain instead of somebody that I was just laughing
it is
at
like
the whole
the
time.
most villainous villain performance I think we're so
Yeah.
used to in modern TV.
Yeah.
There always has to be like a sad backstory on why this person is this way, and it's like you see the gray. There's like no gray from Wapple.
No, not at all. He's like,
it's almost refreshing. He just exactly
just
like you
bad.
said. He walks out of that reverie, that government meeting. There's a child in his way. He doesn't even clock that it's the child of his political rival. It could have been any child. He just slaps her with like a metal glove. Doesn't care at all. Like that would have absolutely concussed that child.
And then like the other part
feel
about it
bad.
is like I don't know if this maybe it's like an intention. He is like he goes into an accent where that's the princess. Oh, it's the princess of Alabama.
Yeah,
and he like
he
does.
He
and
almost
it's like,
does a southern accent.
Are you like
Yeah.
implying that they're like in an Americanism, if somebody from you're assuming that like somebody from the East Coast would do that. You're assuming you're talking down to somebody. That's what I. And
he's talking
I just,
down to her, but like you just
Yeah.
don't really understand exactly what he's getting at. You know,
And
they
you're
appear to
like,
be
"What's
like
happening?"
semi, South Asian or Middle Eastern or something. So.
Gosh. Oh, it was. But like also that just totally adds to the. Oh, he's so bad. It's odious.
Yeah, and he's
I use that
actually
for Blackbeard, but
we're talking about him
whatever.
here. I actually had him at my number 3 because you can't not talk about Wapole and just every single scene he's in, you know he's gonna say something terrible, and
Crazy.
he just immediately
Wild
like when
work.
Hiraluk goes into in the flashback, Hiraluk goes to heal the sick doctors. He's like, "You idiot! This was a trap. Also, you're dead. Execute him now." And then
Kill him.
he immediately, he's not wrong though, because with what happened with Hiraluk kind of blowing himself up, it's like hashtag Wapole was right. If they would have done that, maybe a few of those gods would have gone home that day. Hiraluk, I mean, we'll talk more about him, but crazy, just coming in with the grenades.
Oh yeah.
That's a wild sequence.
I loved that. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get into it, but. Yeah, what else? There was so many good Wapole moments. Obviously, when Luffy is kind of pre-battle in the castle, Luffy's doing his stretching in Nami's jacket.
Yeah.
And, like, he's on his whole, like,
I'm
villain
serious. I'm gonna
monologue,
kill you right
and then
now.
it stops, like, the music cuts out underneath him, and he's like, what are you doing? He's like, well, I thought we were going to fight a little bit, so I was just stretching. And then, yeah, while they're mid-battle, he's like, take this seriously. I'm trying to kill you.
And yeah, those are funny parts, but it's like the way it's. I feel like in the anime, that's so. He's like a goof, and it's not even like he almost seems unthreatening, and he just there is an air of threat about him. He does seem capable. It's
anybody who's within like breathing distance of him has like a coin flip chance of getting executed. Like, and you feel that the whole time. He's got the blood pressure, armband on from the doctor, and he like gets mad that it's too tight. And he's like, punish
make sure
this
he's
man.
punished. Yeah.
And they talk about his blood pressure issues early on, which I thought was kind of funny. What else? I mean, he eats the devil fruit at the beginning. For people who don't know, like, you don't know exactly what his power is going to be, but it's a pretty Do they ever name the devil fruit? It's the munch fruit.
It's
I
the
know
munch
from
fruit.
looking into it,
Yeah,
but
no,
I don't
they
know if they
say
ever
it.
say it. Okay, they
Yeah,
do
they
say
do.
it. So yeah, basically he can eat whatever and, basically transform it inside of his body into a combination of what he eats. So he eats his soldiers and they're fine. They're like still alive, which is totally cool.
They were digesting.
And then he also eats weapons, and I think he could have been a little bit more creative maybe. I wonder how much experimentation he did, with that power. Like how many things did he try to combine? Because I feel like he would have started with like the classic John Madden turducken kind of thing. It's like, what if I eat a chicken and a turkey and a duck? And then it's like, could he regurgitate it but then eat it again? Could he eat the same meal over and over again with this power? That's something that maybe is interesting to a guy like Walpole. It might just turn evil, though, because all the things that came out of his mouth were, pretty evil
bad.
looking. Yeah.
Could be colored by the attitude of the
And then he also he was a little fanboy for Axe Hand Morgan. He got his own. It was more of a halberd, but Axe Hand vibes. Could come up with his own axe.
Why
hands.
do you like Axe Hand so much, Jake?
Oh, everybody likes Axe Hand Morgan. Big, just a
big.
Put that guy in a
fandom for
t-shirt.
Axe Hand Morgan.
Lots of sales on that shirt.
We're gonna get
With
a lot
Axe
of
Hand
sales.
Morgan on it.
What was your number 5, Jackie?
My number 5, as it was last week, is Sexy Corner, Tyler.
Oh,
We gotta
no.
go to Sexy Corner. I think this is going to be a repeating segment in all of our future, One Piece podcasts. So my Sexy Corner this week, it's got to start with how the episode started. The first one with All Sunday in that, black. I don't know if it was a raincoat or leather getup, but it was something. So she's doing that. She's got her signature kind of bangs, and she's a close talker all Sunday. It works for her. I don't think it works for everybody, but, the close talking works for All Sunday.
Oh, yeah. Ominous, for sure.
Yeah, ominous and, very sultry, very sensuous. And then we're going to go from All Sunday. Oh, before I get off her, I suppose, I should mention also her opposite getup, the white. She had the white,
with the
long
cowboy hat.
robe cloak with the cowboy hat as she was kind of mysteriously appearing in town. That's a kind of snow situation. And then when she's talking to Sir Crocodile at the end, I'm pretty sure she's back in a black number from the beginning. So, all of the fits have just worked this season, Tyler. I can't think of a single one that hasn't. She is kind of the queen of Sexy Corner, but there are 2 kings of Sexy Corner this week as well, Tyler.
There gotta be 2 kings.
You cannot
This
deny.
is in my special mentions.
Good. It's a very special mention because we have to, let me start with something a little bit more soft core, Tyler. We got Sanji's military coat. He goes out onto the ship at the very beginning and it's snowing. It's like, that's a nice coat, Sanji. So that's like
That's
kind of
nice
the first
coat.
one. But then what happens, Tyler, when the coat comes off? All right?
Uh-oh.
When
What happens?
they're up in the castle
bandaged
and they're
up.
healing from their frostbite or whatever, I don't really understand the bandages that they had,
Well,
based
Sanji
on the
had a
injuries
broken
that I
rib.
saw. Sure he did. So
That's what they say.
he's got a broken rib, but like the bandages are kind of perfectly highlighting his chiseled abs, and
They're
that
also
he's
covering
been
his
fasting.
tattoos.
Oh, well, that helps as well, I suppose. But he's got those abs, and then guess what? Luffy comes in. Luffy has the wounded part where he's just standing there with Sanji, and they're both kind of ripped. But then also Luffy at one point comes in just a towel.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
and he's like, oh my
He's
gosh,
like, I was getting
this
boiled
witch is
in
going to eat
warm-
us.
Putting me in warm water.
But I'm
Cook me.
thinking, like, where did those muscles come from, Luffy? Have you been, like, working out in the castle gym while you're supposed to be recovering from your illness? So that's
been getting-
Luffy and Sanji, the twin sexy kings. But then we also have kind of a sexy dowager queen, okay? So we already went over All Sunday, but you got to mention our girl with 2 names, Correa, Doctorine. I don't care what you call her, but I call her, a real swinging gal, Tyler, because she comes in. You see those like leather flare pants that are like purple and pink, and then you go up, you see an exposed bare midriff, and you're thinking, who's this young lady? And then it turns out she's not so young, Tyler. She's 139 years old.
139 doesn't look a day over 130.
Absolutely, and she's always slinging, that bottle, whatever that is. I don't know the proofing of that. I don't know how much percentage of alcohol, but whatever it is, how could you tell her to change up her routine, Tyler?
I would never ask her to do that.
Look at that because bod. Whatever's
she's
going
doing
on there, she's a doctor. Okay,
I'll have what she's having.
I'll have what she's having and then some. I might have to wait a few months to do the exposed midriff piece of it, but I will start drinking exactly what she has. And she, she's got those kind of circular sunglasses. She looks very rock and roll. She's got her own kind of rock and roll theme that's a little bit more classic rock versus Smoker's more like squealing, 80s hair metal situation. So a lot going on. I would
love to see
Correa.
Smoker in a hair metal band.
Oh. I mean, I didn't have him listed in Sexy Corner, but every time that man is on screen, it's a Sexy Corner. I just feel
like he's an honorable mention for every Sexy Corner. He never has a shirt on.
He never really changes his outfit, but he doesn't need to. He doesn't need to own a shirt. He's not going on Amazon and buying undershirts, okay?
He doesn't need one.
He's saving money and he's looking good.
If you look good, why change your clothes?
You shouldn't.
You shouldn't.
Are there any other sexy moments that I'm forgetting here in Sexy Corner, Tyler?
No, not that I can think of, Jackie. Not that I can think of at all.
Well, let's move on before I get too flustered. To number 4. What's your number 4, Tyler?
My number 4 is actually like a combo corner, is what I'm going to call it.
Combo corner.
I like talking about the things that are like shown in the background that are like little Easter eggs or like little things that happen. But also I'm going to mention things that were added this time that aren't, something that was added is something you liked. The Wapple scene with Baroque Works where they give him the fruit.
Yeah.
That is an added scene. That's just context. I don't know if that's going to be, people are going to come at me in the comments. I don't know if that's going to be considered canon from here on out. But it's just one of those things where it's like, oh, how fun. This is how Wapple got the fruit. This is the conversation they had. The connection to Baroque Works is beyond, like, the contributions, all of these things. It adds more layers to his character, and I do think that helped with, the characterization, probably why I liked Wapple so much. Now I'm going to get into some of the, just to get into some of the Easter eggs. There's a face that Luffy makes at the end where he has like 2 chopsticks in his nose and in his mouth, and he's going like this. It's like, it is an iconic face that he makes like constantly in the anime, and him and Chopper do it a lot together, and to have him doing it in like the first crew scene with Chopper, very good. Very good attention to detail.
And that's something from the actor. That's Iñaki Godoy and his kind of ball knowledge. He wanted to get that in there, and he's always pushing to get stuff that, is from the manga into the show as much as he can. And I think also the stretching that he did before Wapple was one of his ideas.
And it's so... Maybe I'm going to change the entire scope of, like, what this number 4 is to, like, maybe just how much the cast and the crew care about the show. Because Iñaki put, that little detail in. You're right. Taz Skylar, I don't know if you're aware, has an entire, like, YouTube channel where he, like, talks about his preparation for becoming Sanji. He learned to cook. There are all of these things. He's like doing all the knife work. He's doing the kickboxing. He's the stunts.
They did that little cocktail number in Whiskey Peak.
Yeah. Nami, Emily Rudd, has incredible knowledge of the anime, and she tries to do a lot of things that, like, in the same way Iñaki, they all are putting the input in. They all are trying to stay true. I think we mentioned when in the Baroque Works number 9, his actor wanted to keep his pinkies up the whole time. And it's like, that's not a, that is just something that these folks are doing because they care about the art.
Yeah.
And
I think that's a benefit of getting, like, I'm not. This isn't a slight on anybody, but it's a benefit of getting a cast that's not full of A-list celebrities.
totally.
Because they, especially with the main cast, you can tell that this is like their big thing, that they want to do like the best that they can in it. And I think for some
Absolutely.
of them it'll be a springboard to other things, but you can see at least at this point through 2 seasons the level of focus and the level
Focus
of
and commitment.
commitment. Is a good word.
Yeah. It's incredible. And if it continues like this, I know we've talked about the showrunners switching a lot, and that always affects shows, but I do think ultimately if the people who work on this show continue to do what they're doing with how much heart and soul they're putting into it, you're going to get at least a good product no matter what.
Yeah. All right, that's your
my
number
4.
4. My number 4 is the wacky characters at the Reverie and the metal soldiers. I kind of combine these because I like these moments where you just kind of have an overload of interesting things on the screen that really forces you to either pause or to go back and watch it again just to kind of take it all in. And those were the 2 main pieces for me were the Reverie. You have this round table of, these world government leaders, and there's a few that really stand out that are not mentioned at all. Nobody really talks about it. But next to Walpole, you got this guy in like a leather sombrero, and Walpole later like wipes his hands on him, before he starts his speech. Just another great, Walpole is a terrible person.
Yeah, he's just
moment.
the worst guy.
There's an Abraham Lincoln gentleman at that table that's like the most obvious, like this guy's supposed to be Lincoln, but he's wearing, a fancier, and I don't remember exactly, but, more colorful getup.
Yeah,
but
it has
he's
like stars
got the
on his
stovepipe hat.
Yeah.
He's got the Lincoln facial hair. He's very obviously Lincoln. You got a guy that looks like he's, like an Arabian prince or something. And then you got various other people that I can't quite see exactly what they're trying to do, but
And the vampire guy.
Oh yeah, vampire guy. I can't believe I always forget about the vampire guy. Of course. So it's a funny. That's like again our first glimpse into the world government, and I just hope that there's more of these kooky characters that start coming out because it's hard for me to not just come up with little names for these folks. Sombrero guy and Honest Abe and all of that. So I hope to see more, and I hope that they only explain parts of it because I like to fill in the gaps. So that's the Reverie piece, and then also we have these metal soldiers, and I gotta go now and scroll to my notes to see how I handled this. But there was a lot going on with these different creatures here. So let's see.
A lot of them
took a lot of
seemed
notes,
like
Tyler.
very advanced cosplay to me.
Yeah. Okay, so here we go. So we had the pig man. We had the totem pole guy that was kind of like 2 guys on top of one another.
Yeah.
We had what I refer to as the raven mantis. That was
I know exactly
it's kind of
what
like
you're
a
talking
bird
about.
head, but then he has
And then
the
he had
big,
the big arms that he was like
the
walking
big
on.
arms that he kind of like walks with like almost like a pteranodon or something. I don't even know how to describe that. And then we've got the mace turtle, I'm calling him. He's got like a big like spiky mace head
the
and
spiky head.
spiked belly. Who else do we have? And then we had Cannon Face.
How could you forget Cannon Face?
Possibly the most threatening. There were at least 2 moments with Cannon Face where someone was about to get blasted, and then all of a sudden, Deus Ex Machina, either Correa comes in, shooting a rifle, or I think at one point, I can't remember.
Dalton?
There were a couple moments.
Dalton.
You're right.
Does he do
Dalton
the
burst
because I
through
have
as
a
an ox.
Dalton?
Yeah.
The Dalton Blitz is what I call
Dalton
it.
Ox man. Yeah. Yeah, so that's my number 4 is just the kooky characters that we saw in those 2 moments. And I think that's One Piece at its best. Let's not. I like it when they bring humanity to it, but I also like it when it's just kind of out of left field and wacky.
Oh yeah, it's got to be goofy.
Yep. All right, my number 3 was Wapol, so we've already done that. So what's your 3?
My number 3 is Chopper. It honestly, there was
That's
a lot
my
of
number 2,
confrontation.
so,
There's a lot of confrontation about because there's like this. There are two different art styles that Chopper has like gone through. He has like what people call like the ugly version or the cute version. And it's like pre-time skip, post-time skip. His like I think is when in the art and the manga changed. Don't come at me in the comments. I don't remember when he changed from being like weird looking to cute. The point is, a lot of people on the internet were like, he should be the weird looking one. He should be the weird looking one.
They should have just put in the original
No.
Sonic model,
Yeah.
when
where he had like human teeth.
where they were like,
Yeah.
let's make him an actual hedgehog.
Yeah, that sounds good. No,
That's what people want.
the cute version of Chopper is the right choice to put in the live action. The fact that he looks like a tiny teddy bear, like little raccoon teddy bear with antlers. Yeah. Sorry, folks. It works. And the CGI is really good. They do keep him inside a lot of the time, I noticed. But even when they have him outside, I don't know how much money they're spending on this CGI.
It's a big part of the budget.
It's a big part of the budget. Because it looks like it's Detective Pikachu good. It's like, whoa.
Yeah.
There's like one part where I'm like, okay, kind of not as great as the rest of it. Like, it's when and I like the moment, Zoro puts him on his shoulder. That is like the only time where I'm like, immersion sort of broken for me. But aside from that, it's like, oh, he's there. He's there.
I wonder how much they thought about, how they were going to do this, because there's a version of this where they do it like Ewok style, where you got a little person in a suit.
Yeah.
And maybe animatronics added on to that. So I think it's interesting that they went full on CGI because, like we were saying, they had a body double on the set. And then obviously you have the fact that when you get to Heavy Point Chopper, that's much more practical, if not entirely practical.
Pretty much, yeah, I think.
So it'll be interesting to see how that continues into the future with how they deal with this character in the variety of different situations and settings. And, you would think that the technology and, dare I say, if they use AI for, different textures and all of that, I mean, it can only get better from a look standpoint as time goes by. As long as that budget isn't ferociously cut, and then you'll just see Chopper like hanging out in a storage room while everybody else is out doing stuff. But I think what I have as my number 2 is part of it, at least, is little Chopper, cute Chopper. So definitely a big win. I think focusing these 3 episodes on Chopper, it had to work. If it didn't work, it would be a real slog for the last 3, which you're choosing to be kind of the end cap to this season.
Yeah, just one small thing to add. If there's anybody who does have a problem with that he's the cute one, I want you folks to think about this for a moment. If getting more One Piece content is determined by how many copies of something you sell or how much merchandise you sell, you should really be hoping that they keep doing the cute Chopper.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's going to sell millions of plushies.
Yep.
Millions.
My wife wants one.
I want one. Anyway, we can keep going.
We also got to mention while we're
Target.
talking about Chopper, we got to mention Michaela Hoover with a really great vocal performance.
Oh, yeah.
And she's a really interesting actor. She's in a variety of different things, and I feel like it's one of those moments where if you don't know who this is and you Google Michaela Hoover, you'll be shocked at like, wow, this is a really, attractive woman, like good-looking woman. And it's like, not that that matters, but it's just like when you see Chopper on screen, that's not maybe the first picture that I would have in my head. So like phenomenal chops on her for character acting, and she's a
Oh, yeah.
frequent James Gunn collaborator. So she's in the Guardians of the Galaxy. She plays a bit part in one of the early ones, but then in Volume 3, she's the voice of the rabbit Floor. And if you've seen Guardians 3, I'm not going to spoil it here, but I mean, really tough, emotional, heartbreaking stuff. But that's probably, I would assume that that's the main role that kind of got her into consideration for this one. And then she also is in, she was recently in the new Superman movie.
Yeah.
Playing like, herself as just like one of the attractive blonde women around the office. And don't come at me because I don't know the comics. She has a name. I just don't know the name, Tyler. But it's like someone
I don't either.
It's like the other girl. Like, I'm not I'm not going to say I guess I could say, that girl over there, one of those. So she's kind of like that to Lois Lane,
Exactly.
Working in the newsroom. So, yeah, really fantastic by her, and Chopper was excellent. Was that your 3 or your 2?
That was my 3.
Okay. I'll go with my 2, the other half of my 2, because part of my 2 was Chopper, but I kind of snuck in Hero Look into my 2 as well, because I had this as Hero Look and Lil Chopper.
Oh, well.
What?
I mean, Hero Look is my number 1.
It's your number 1. We'll talk
like
about it at 1
yeah.
then. What's your 2?
The Doctorine and Chopper thing, the combative relationship, specifically like the "I'm leaving you" scene, and where she's like, "You ungrateful little S word," which is sort of it's the anti-Harry and the Hendersons. It's like, how dare you even consider leaving me? I've done everything for you, and then having already prepared for him to leave and packed all of his stuff and make sure he has all of his stuff. And it's like, it's just so cute. And Katie Sagal, again, we're gonna keep
just
flipping it. I'm sorry. Great job. She brings so much emotion to a character she's talking to a tiny reindeer boy, and she's doing real acting. So
and while we're on the subject of Correa Doctorine, I think we have to mention that the original casting choice was Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah.
And we've talked, off the pod about, I think it is a good turn of fate that it ended up with Katie Sagal, because I can't imagine Jamie Lee Curtis being better suited for the role. I think she would have been a bigger name. But that's about it. And I think Jamie Lee Curtis, to be fair, is a big One Piece fan. So I mean, from that angle, I'm sure she would have done a fantastic job. But I think
now that I've seen it the way that it
needs to be.
I just don't think I could. I can't imagine it another way now.
I think that the Jamie Lee Curtis version, there would have been a little bit more sauce on all of the interactions. And it would have been just a little taken up a notch in terms of whenever she is upset or, angry or, that whole end would have been. I feel like Katie Sagal has a little bit of inherent coldness in how she approaches
Stoicism.
everything. That is kind of what makes the character work, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And, the Jamie Lee Curtis version, I'm sure would have been good, but maybe not as effective in the way that I appreciate the character as Katie Sagal did it. What else do you have to say? We talked about her glasses. We talked about her rock and roll theme song. She's kind of a reluctant. She says she doesn't care and she doesn't want to help, but then she kind of ends up helping all the time.
Yeah,
she does do something insane where. Is it Nami tries to get up from her bed and she just puts a knife right to her throat?
You either die in my care or you leave completely healed.
I mean, that's kind of nuts. And, she's been drinking all day, so hopefully that knife hand is real steady.
Oh, it's got to be.
Because that could get sketchy. So yeah, she's serious about her work and like she wants to do it the right way, or else she might as well just kill you. That's normal and fine.
Totally normal.
What else do you have to say
I
about
think that's part of the
Dr.
Hippocratic
E?
Oath, I'm pretty sure.
Wapple knows all about the Hippocratic Oath because he's a hippo man.
Yeah. No, I honestly just think, again, casting was great. I don't regret for a moment that Jamie Lee Curtis had to do Freaky Friday. Sorry.
Yeah,
That's what
she probably
happened.
got a lot more money. She also, I don't think she said like basically if the shooting was in L.A., she would have done it.
Right, she would have been able to. It just had to
it's
do with like
going
the
to South
location.
Africa is
Yeah.
a tough sitch.
Yeah, of course.
All right,
Yeah.
let's talk about our guy Hero Look. This is your number one, my number two.
Number one.
This guy, first of all, I think I said this on our last podcast where we're kind of doing the big overview, but the first time I saw this guy for about 5 seconds, I thought it was Will Forte. And so
That's funny.
I think it would be really funny to have Will Forte in this role. I think you're instantly charmed when, I mean, who doesn't like a nutty professor type character where it's like, he just is always experimenting. It's like very early 90s coded or mid 90s coded to me. You had so many of these characters that were like tinkerers. They were like the guy in his garage who was always coming up with these concoctions and experiments.
You almost expected a big old green flubber to bounce out of something that Heroic was doing, you know?
Yeah, or, if you're around our age, you remember the neighbor in Doug. What's that guy's name? Mr.
Dink? Mr. Dink?
Mr. Dinkle, something like that.
Well, yeah,
But
I think
then
you're
you
thinking
also had in
Dinkelberg
Rugrats,
from...
like Tommy's dad was like a toy inventor or something. You had so many of these father-like characters that were like inventors or scientists or experimenters or whatever. So he falls right into that. And then what's really charming is the first time, you see him and he finds Chopper wounded by gunshot. And to make Chopper feel more at ease, he takes off all of his clothes in the blink of an eye. So he really missed his actual career choice, which would have been some kind of a Magic Mike situation. Because, I mean, what clothes? Those things flew right off at
He's
the
like,
drop
don't worry.
of a hat.
I just...
and I mean, what can you say? It's winter this whole time. Like,
and he's
it's never
just
not winter. It's very cold.
Just laying it all out there, too. And honestly, we should have put it in Sexy Corner because, to be
That's
honest
true.
with you,
You
the
got a point
confidence
there,
of that
Tyler.
man, he flipped that. Ooh, I was ready for that bod. I loved it.
It was great.
I call it Father
And
bod.
while we're on the Sexy Corner omissions, I also have to mention Zorro on the ship, shirtless.
Yeah, how could we
everyone
forget
else is wearing
Zorro
coats.
on this ship?
There's
Yeah,
too
of
much
course.
sex appeal in this show, Tyler. It's hard to get it all into one corner. You got to spread it out. Really,
You never put sexy in a corner.
we try though.
We try to.
Other stuff with Hero Look, I mean, the hair, just from a design standpoint and costumes, fantastic.
Yeah.
I love that. I love whenever you got a character with like some serious hair and then a hat like fits perfectly on the hair.
Oh, the perfect hat hair.
Yeah,
I
right on the center spike.
The "When Does a Man Die" speech is great.
Oh, yeah.
He does.
He gets the real. I mean, and it's important because his voice, his disembodied voice, comes back at the very end to kind of repeat that whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's it's a
I
testament
think I
to the
wrote
actor,
a lot
too.
of that down. I just gotta find it.
Oh yeah,
my
read it.
Giant cascade of notes. Let me see. Do.
My note literally just says, "Hero Look monologues. When does a man die? Also,
Yeah.
that bod. I won't shoot you."
I mean, he's like, if someone's sick, I'm gonna try to treat him. And I mean, that is kind of a cell phone by Hero Look. He should have. I mean, that was kind of a weak reason to go. I thought when he first said that he was going to treat the sick doctors, I thought that was a lie. He was telling Chopper, but then it's like, oh, he actually did that. But what's even funnier is like he came in guns blazing. It's like, what if he blew up one of the doctors with?
Well,
He's got
so
some nice
my
grenade
interpretation
tosses as well,
is
Tyler.
like he doesn't like he's not all in for like traditional medicine. He thinks that watching the like blossoms is gonna. I
That's
think
true. Maybe
thinks
exploding
he
some of the
is.
guards would have made them
Well,
feel
I
better.
think, yeah, I think his act of like this entire act of coming in and sacrificing himself, he's like, this is what's, I'm already dead. This
Yeah.
is what's gonna wake these doctors up and cure
That could
them.
be. And that's a more interesting interpretation than, like, I'm going to go here and give them Tylenol. And,
Yeah.
oops, I got trapped. So what he says is,
I brought all this stuff.
what he says is, you can't kill me. And then he's like, when does a man die? Is it when a bullet pierces his heart? An incurable disease? A poisonous mushroom? No. A man dies when he is forgotten. I may disappear, but my dream will live on. The people will be healed. And then Dalton is like all buying into it. He's like, hey, you think Drum Kingdom can be saved?
No.
And then he's like, soon a monster will appear. Please do not hurt him. He is my son. So yeah, he
My
gets
son.
a lot of
No, it's so good.
of pieces in there at the end. One question I have for you, Tyler.
Yeah.
This is something that I don't think is explicitly stated. He's telling the story about the cherry blossoms, where he says, I think he says, long ago there was this robber guy who had this incurable disease, and then he goes to this faraway land, and everyone says, you're going to die, your thing can't be cured. He sees the cherry blossoms, and the sheer beauty, the sight of it, cured him.
Yeah.
Is he the robber?
That's how I've always interpreted it.
Okay.
I think this is one of those things that, like, again, I don't think it could be in like an SBS or something, or like a question, something I don't know. But that's how I've always interpreted it. And even later on,
Yeah.
Kureha says, why don't you go and look at those those blossoms again if you want to live for, because he's like, well, can you extend my life? I don't want my life's work to. She's like, well, why don't you go find those cherry blossoms again? Why don't you go find them?
Yeah, because
And
he witnessed it, but it's like, why would he just be looking at this? Why was he there? So that makes by
Yeah.
far the most sense if it's him. But it's like
That's
one
what
of
I've
those
always
moments
thought.
where it's
Yeah.
like, why not just say it was you? I don't know. It's
it's
a
more
classic
interesting
trope.
if it's a robber.
It's like, there was a man that I used to know, and he saw some cherry blossoms, he did.
No relation to me.
No relation. All right. Anything else to say about our guy?
No, I just love him so much.
Yeah, it was solid. Also, nice technique in the whole grenade clap.
Oh yeah,
Solid.
that's very.
I do it. It's a big.
Reminds me of a show, Quiet Days, where you're just like,
Oh yeah,
you don't when
absolutely.
you clap above it and you don't clap your hands completely. You just like touch the tip. It's
You gotta
not
leave enough
really
room for
about.
the grenades. You're not
It's
gonna
not
actually
like
get the hands.
it's not
together.
about actually clapping your hands. It's about like
It's about the release.
It's about the release. It's about how
You gotta
much energy
imagine
you
that
have
you've
coming
got two
out.
grenades together. That's what forces
That's
you
what
apart.
it is.
But
Oh.
it was probably, he had guards on all sides of him. They probably should have seen that he had two big balls in his hands that were probably explosives, seeing as how he was, throwing them at all the
What
other
if they
guards.
wanted to learn the mystery of the spin, Jackie?
I think you have something.
What if they were
there.
a regular Joey Joestar?
But also, I got to glance at my demerits just to see if I don't mention this. But if not, I got to bring up, I don't have it in there. So I'll just say, I think it was, the one thing I'll say about our guy is he should have taken a couple steps toward the throne, maybe. Tried to blow up Walpole instead of just doing it
just
where
going
only
for
the
it.
guards who were just like working stiffs. Clearly
Yeah.
Dalton is with him. I'm sure there's some other guys in there who don't love being ruled by a psychopath. So that's my only critique. But he made a good show out of it, and you gotta love the old hat floating in the air to signal to Chopper that he met his end. I'd like to see the physics of how that hat in one piece one piece. See what I did? Got out the
Oh, I
window.
did see
and,
that.
Started just floating nicely down. All right, my number one, Tyler, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because I don't think it needs a lot of analysis. Smoker.
What?
Get this man his own show.
Get his own show.
Just get him his own show. I want to see Smoker. You can bring Tashigi, or you can have him paired up with somebody else every single week. But like Detective Smoker going in, solving mysteries, just like at various locations.
It's like
riding
a
his
procedural.
motorcycle out of the sea. Just the wordplay, his whole baseball fight with Miss Thursday.
Oh, yeah.
And then, like,
Now you
he
got me
starts doing
doing
the yeah, exactly. I mean, just every time. It made me kind of upset that we didn't get more Smoker in the middle of the season, and if you lined up all of his stuff on top of itself, you probably only got like 20 to 30 minutes of Smoker time. So I can't wait for more Smoker.
That's only 2 smoke breaks.
I just had a lot of fun with Smoker. I had to put him in at my number 1 because it's just how I feel in my heart.
I'm glad that you're going with your heart, Jackie. That's the important thing. I'm glad Smoker's your
I'm
number
glad
1.
that you got Correa and Hirolook in there. Because I didn't have Correa on my list at all, so
you put Smoker on the list
right at the top, right on the top. Yep, exactly.
That makes so much sense. I can't wait till you bring Axe Hand Morgan back to your top. He's not even in the episode. Yeah, I was just thinking about him.
That's my number 1 demerit. Where is Axe Hand Morgan?
Where's Axe Hand Morgan?
When is he coming back? It's been 354 days since we've seen Axe Hand Morgan.
The Axe Hand count. How many days has it been?
They gotta like flash to the prison, like maybe he's in there chopping it up, so to speak, with his axe hands.
He's just like nudging the guy. He's like, hey, he doesn't even have his axe anymore.
He goes
He's
up for a high five, and it just never works out. You'd think I'd remember that.
Okay.
Demerits, Tyler.
Demerits.
What's your number 5?
My number 5 is Big Chopper's teeth. I gotta tell you, dude. Like, I am all for the practical stuff. I appreciate that they had a man in a bodysuit. Why were his teeth rotten when he was big, and when he was tiny, they were normal and nice? Couldn't he have had nice teeth both, or like had bad both?
I think they should have given him like turkey teeth, just like sparkling white.
Yeah. Well, the thing I'm like, give it. I just was like, I don't have a problem with the size. It's literally the color they were. They had like brown stuff all over them, and I'm like, guys.
Yeah, he got a little bit more rough and gruff,
How did he turn into that? He had regular teeth before. His teeth were shiny and white as a little boy Chopper, and now he looks crazy.
I think that's the danger of mixing, of having a more practical heavy point Chopper and a less practical cute Chopper is you like.
But it was mainly the teeth.
I'm sure it's difficult, but not impossible. Yeah, you're right. I don't know. Maybe, I mean, because they had to have filmed the heavy point Chopper first, so maybe they did model cute Chopper, and they're like, the teeth make it look off. Let's like make his teeth look better.
Probably.
Here.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not gonna guess. But all I know is that the teeth, like on the second watch, really bothered me. I was like, I could not look away from the teeth, and I don't know.
Yeah,
it doesn't help that you made them bigger and gross.
Yeah,
like you could have just made them bigger, or you could have just made them gross. I don't know.
Yeah, makes sense. My number 5. And this one is, I have it at number 5 because I don't want to play it out like it's a huge deal, but I just have written down here that Vivi kind of lost her spark in this late stage of the season. I think she was a lot more fun as a Baroque Works assassin. She had this kind of sassy vibe to her that kind of went away once we found out she was the princess, and now she's like kind of acting more royal-like, and I think it'd just be fun if she was a little bit more dangerous like she was in the beginning, It's like...
Now, the transition is pretty sharp. She goes from being like... I'm sassy, have an attitude to let me give you sage wisdom about how to run
Yeah,
your
exactly.
crew.
She's got this like more prim and proper vibe kind of constantly. And I think this is a similar thing that I would say about Nami is like Nami bring in more of the thievery, more
Yeah.
consistently. We've talked about that before. Like have some edge to these characters. I think Sanji does a good job of balancing it. I think all the Sanji stuff he maintains that like slight edge of like this guy loves women, and it's like under the surface but always there. I think
Yeah.
like similarly, like it'd be interesting to me if Vivi, like she did this assassin thing for so long that's still part of like who she is, and she like
Yeah.
learned from that and carries it on, and not like she flipped a switch and now she's
Right.
a
Things
different
have
person.
become like reactions have become second nature. She just acts a certain way now because
Yeah.
she's been
Like
acting that
some of the
way.
best Vivi stuff was like when she's going tit for tat with Luffy on the ship, like when she's a prisoner,
Yeah.
like that stuff. Like that's I think what really makes that actress's abilities shine. So just more of that, I'd love it. It doesn't bother me. I still think Vivi was a great character this season, but I just like to like have more fun overall.
More fun. More
Number
time.
4, Tyler.
More episodes. So this is one of those sort of like anime omissions that I think could have been well served, and I don't think it would have taken like too much time, but CGI budget. It is the CGI budget. There are these, and they're pictured. I guess I should have mentioned this in my, because it's like a half demerit, half good thing. They show what I'm talking about in the background. They're like pelts, and there's a head of like what is like a giant rabbit
Yeah,
monster
I
thing.
noticed that.
And part of the scaling of the mountain is that you have to get past these rabbit guys.
Okay.
And that was like another, in the anime, it's like another hurdle for them to cross. And it's like they fight and they're like acclimated to the weather, and our characters aren't. It's
Sure.
like an uneven whatever. But
So were they
then
fighting like on a sheer cliff face like that? Because the mountain is like straight up and down.
it's like more to the approach of the mountain where
Okay.
it's like, and they fight. And then there's like an avalanche, and one of them gets like, there's a moment where Luffy, they've been fighting. He's beaten up. He's already wind blown. He's still carrying Nami. You know what? And the other thing is, he might be carrying Sanji at this point. I don't really remember too. Like, that's another thing that's sort of different. Luffy carries both Sanji and Nami.
He ends up getting them both up, but with
Right,
Sanji,
but it's
it's
not
like
in
he
the
fell
same
and
way.
he had to go like grab
And
it.
again, the comments are gonna totally tear me apart. I don't remember exactly the sequence in the anime. The point is there is this moment where there's a baby, one of these like rabbit yeti things, and it's crying because its mother is like under the snow and beaten, and it's like without any intervention, this rabbit monster child is gonna go without a mother, and Luffy, while like trudging along in this snow, having sort of overcome this hurdle, just lifts the mother out of like saving the mom from being encased in snow or whatever, and it like the little baby's like, oh, not all humans are bad. This guy, and it's another one of those things where it's like Luffy has this innate connection to animals, or like all of
Yeah.
the stuff that like keeps building on his character and stuff like that. And ultimately, like at the end of the arc, the giant, I forgot what they're called. They're like jackrabbits or something. The point is, they come and like help Luffy and fight with them because they're in fighting shape. But they could have just had the moment with like the help in the end. It's these like little bits that I think are part of like really good characterizations for certain people or certain like Straw Hats that I think I've complained about Usopp not getting things, and that's one of the things that I think Luffy sort of needs. It's like this magical sort of. Nami says something like, "You've never met a pirate like Luffy," in these episodes, and it's like, yeah, you haven't, because he just walks by and does whatever he wants to do. And if you're crying because your mom is covered in snow, or like there's something that's happened to you, if he's walking by and can just fix it, he will. And I think that that's like just a very interesting thing that, and I think like Inaki does like a really good job of portraying Luffy. I just think he needs more opportunities to do it, and that's another scene where he could have. And again, all of my complaints are always like, we just need to add more from the anime.
Yeah. More budget, more time.
More budget, more time. Why don't you folks have infinite money and infinite resources?
I do wonder what the HBO version of the show would be. Like if you really got a full like a Thrones budget, or like the Harry Potter. We'll see where that thing goes, but I don't know. Netflix is a real juggernaut as well, so like I don't know how different it would be, but it'd be an interesting A/B test, you know. My number 4, Tyler, very simple. Where'd they get the winter coats? We didn't see them acquire these coats. They all got their own coats. They're like their own style. Vivi has a white coat. Did she have that in the whale? Did it come out with her, you know? At first, I thought maybe Zoro actually didn't have a coat. Turns out he did. Just put it on later.
He just had it later.
I already talked about.
To show that
I think
bond.
Sanji has the best coat. Sanji, you know, just walked out like he was some kind of a Revolutionary War figure in that thing. And I haven't mentioned it before, but just like, I understand that it's just like part of his character modeling, but the whole hair over the eye thing, like it really works for him. It doesn't work for everybody.
Oh, no,
it really
works
for Sanji, you know? I don't think it like, you know, you'd think it would maybe just decrease his accuracy or like his ability, but it doesn't. So.
No,
you know,
it only makes him look sexier.
You would think that like as a cook, you know, maybe you'd have to wear a hairnet time, but
no.
Yeah.
Not him.
So yeah, that's it. That was my number 4. What's the deal? Where did they get the winter coats? It seems like they're very prepared, like maybe a little too prepared. At the very beginning of the series, like from season 1, you just like understand that Luffy just is not a planner. So it's like
nice.
I could see
seat
Nami,
of his pants the whole time.
I could see Nami and Logtown being like, "Hey, you know, there's going to be like a lot of weather. Let's get some of these winter coats." But I didn't ever see that. Also, it seemed like Nami's coat wasn't really a winter coat. The one that Luffy ended up wearing at the end, whereas Zoro's was like a true kind of like cover your butt parka. So it seems like they had, you know,
which is funny because he said he wasn't cold.
Yeah, but then he's got like probably
like
the most effective.
The most effective winter coat.
He's got what do they call it? The Canada Goose. Like he's basically got one of those.
That's actually my next demerit.
That's my number 4. Number 3, Tyler.
This is. My number 3 is gonna be very quick. I'm not gonna say anything more than what I have, like the single sentence I have written down, because to give any more context would ruin something for you.
Okay.
But this is for the folks who know what I'm talking about. I didn't see a single celestial dragon in Merijois during the revelry. And that's it. That's all I'll say. I didn't see one. Maybe somebody did, but I didn't see one. You'd see one, you would know. You would know because they sort of look like astronauts, and they have like a little dome, they have like a little breathing apparatus over their heads, and I didn't see one of them. Not
I saw
like
a photo of
one.
a man named Dragon. They were like,
yeah, but that's not. No,
look at this guy.
That's
Here's,
not it.
Evidence.
But did you see anybody who looked like they had a weird like astronaut helmet on?
I feel like I would have clocked it, Tyler. I
Yeah,
saw Abe
right.
Lincoln.
No.
I saw a sombrero guy. I feel like I would have clocked it.
No. You didn't see it. So, that's my demerit. that's
Maybe it was
where
like
they
peeking
are.
around the corner, you know.
Could be, but
Gotta go
there's
back
like
and look.
multiple shots of the reverie in Marijois where it's not specifically that group of world leaders. It's like you see people in hallways that are just random people.
Yeah.
And there should be celestial dragons there. That's all I'll say.
All right. One thing while I'm thinking about it that's not a demerit, it's something that probably wouldn't have made my top 5 either, but I just have to say it because this was a major sticking point of our season 1 reaction when we had a lot of child actors. I thought the child Vivi did a great job.
Oh, she was great. Yeah.
So
She
it
was
can
really
be
good.
done. You can have a child
You can have a child
performance
actor.
that doesn't like completely bother you and take you out of the action. So she did a great job. I was happy to say that in season 2, I don't think, except for the ice cream child in the first episode, that was really the only low light as far as the children go. So good job, kids. You're getting.
Gee, thanks, mister.
Gee, thanks, mister.
Oh, I mean, Big
Somehow,
Bang.
though, that scene didn't like take anything away from Smoker. It just made him more cool. But it was just like,
Yeah.
boo this child. Get out of here.
Boo the kid. Boo him.
Boo.
Or her. It was a her. Anyway. What was your number 3, Jackie?
My number 3 is the end credit song that was also laced into the score. I think that this...
Which one?
I'll
end
tell
end?
you. I didn't write down the lyrics. I wish I would have some of them. I'm sure you can find them. But basically, there's a song that plays over the end credits that is like a song about Chopper. And it has a chorus that's like, Tony, Tony, Tony Chopper. Tony, Tony, Tony Chopper. And that was something where it happened in the score. And I was like, am I hearing things? And I played it back. And like, I was watching this with my wife, and she didn't hear it at the time. And then I played it back, and she's like, oh, I think you're right. And then I didn't think much of it because it just popped up with that little moment, and it's like way in the background. But then at the very end, it goes into like the song that you can probably download on Spotify or whatever. And like there, it's like, yeah, they're saying Tony, Tony, Tony Chopper. But then there's all this other stuff about like how, he's a lonely soul and he had, a adopted dad. And it's just a little like anytime they have
little
these
on the
songs
nose.
on the blue nose, Tyler. Anytime they have these songs, and I mean, I was very critical of the pray to the sun, pray to the sun. It's just not working for me. Like, stick to just the scoring. We don't need these English words. If you're going to do words, why don't you do a different language? At least for me. When you do it in English, it probably sounds really cool for non-English speakers. Like, it probably sounds fine for them. But for me, it's just like, why are we doing this? Like,
Why are we doing this?
like it's like if Game of Thrones had a song at the end that's like, Jon Snow, you can do everything, Jon Snow. It's
Or if Halo was like,
outdated.
Master Chief. Master
That's kind of the vibe that it has.
Chief.
It sounds like a song that you yourself would create after hearing like the score of something, and you just start singing that whenever you hear it. Like that's the vibe that I'm getting from these songs. So
I feel like the Halo song would be funny. We should just rewrite the Halo song and call it Master Chief.
it could be Master Chief, or you could just say "Hello." All right, let's get to number 2.
No. Number 2, I gotta tell you, the skull and crossbones miscommunication would have been really, really easy to just really nix. You could have,
Tough one.
yeah.
I totally see what happened there. It's just like, oh no,
Yeah,
that's like a
and-
classic misunderstanding. It's like you
Right.
see this symbol right here. This means that anything is possible. and
And it's
that
not
you got to follow your dreams, and that everything is going to be okay, and nothing can stop you.
It's not even necessarily that he like ate the poison mushroom after Chopper found it in a book and he's like, skull and crossbones, this means it'll save him. It's like he's dying anyway. He could have eaten it and he could have been like, you're actually trying to be a doctor. Let me explain something to you for a second before I just head out.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go.
Yeah,
grab a pack of
you would think
smokes.
that Hiraluk was an eccentric man, but he certainly
He was
knew.
definitely trying to teach the
Yeah.
kid, and it's like, why? At no point were you like,
I'm just
I
going to
drank
correct this before I go out the door
before
here.
I go out the door,
Just so you
before
know,
I proverbially grab
you know.
the gallon of milk, pack of smokes, and never come back. I should probably just clarify with
Yeah.
the kid who wants to be a doctor that skull and crossbones actually in medicine means it's poison.
It's just like when you do something in one culture and it means something, and then the opposite in another, or like in America, if you hold up two fingers, you're probably just counting. But if you do the same thing in the UK, it's the most insulting hand gesture that you can do. Like there's you just gotta have a little bit more context. It's like, hey, just so you know, like everything I said is true about the Jolly Roger. However, if you're reading like a textbook,
like a textbook about medicine,
they use it
not
for something
the same
else.
thing.
Yeah, so you just got to understand that distinction, and then you'll be.
I just think
solid.
it's so, like, again, I get the poetry of it, like, oh, he's trying to help, but also it's like you're trying to teach the kid to be a doctor. You should probably tell him about the poison marker.
Yeah, he's like the coach that just says, like, go out there and express yourself and don't worry about,
Yeah, don't care. Don't think about the points. Just have fun.
And then Correa comes in and she's like, I mean, if you want to be a doctor, you have to actually, like, learn some things.
You gotta learn something.
Number one
what are you, an idiot?
Yeah, she's pretty tough on Chopper. It's not really Chopper's fault.
Not his
he is
fault.
a child reindeer.
He's a child reindeer who was taught only by somebody who Correa thinks is a quack, and he's like, "You're an idiot." Yeah, he is.
All right,
man.
my number two. Do you have more on that?
No, I was just gonna say the skull and crossbones things was so funny to me.
Yeah.
It happens in both. It's just like, gosh, can we like just tell him before you go? You're his dad.
Yeah, he didn't do everything right. He didn't do a lot of things right, Tyler.
Didn't need to. He's just a good soul.
He was like just literally half of the doctors at that point that were, free and around. So what are you going to do?
Yeah.
The only one willing to take in the reindeer. Correa would have not done that at all. So you got to take what you can get. My number two, and we kind of started with this with yours. I just broadly, mine is a more broad, just calling out the heavy point Chopper in general. It's I think it's a little harsh for me having this at 2 because it didn't ruin anything for me, but I think it's a tough execution. I almost think that they should have just gone full CGI on it and done CGI for both or practical for both. I think that the look of it doesn't quite get there for me. I think it's easy. I think it's an easy thing for people who are not into the show to pull out those moments specifically and point to that as like, wow, this show is ridiculous and like this is dumb. And the teeth is part of it. I think that, and this is actually a question I have for you that I think I know the answer to, but in the anime, is it the same deal where when Chopper changes to Heavy Point, does Chopper maintain the same voice as Little Chopper? Or is there a vocal change?
I'm pretty sure it's the same.
Yeah, and
I
I
watch
think
it
that
in
that's
the
why they. Yeah, you watch
I watch in the Japanese with
yeah.
the subtitles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But even there, I'm pretty sure that they would have chosen to do the same voice for that reason. And I question that choice a little bit, and I wonder if just having a different voice would have solved some of this for me. I'm not entirely sure. It's just something doesn't quite work about the whole package. And I think part of it is the voice, part of it is the look, part of it is the fact that it looks like a man in a Sasquatch type suit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's again, this isn't something that's completely ruined for me. I I could still watch those scenes, but I just question whether that could have been executed better.
I have a similar feeling. I do. I mentioned it in the teeth, but it is really the fact that it is the major switch from
Yeah.
practical. And again, this is kind of why I kept it so low. It's because I want to be consistent that I prefer practical to CGI.
Yeah, in general, I do as well, and it's difficult. Because here's the thing, Tyler, they did such a good job with the Giants of really creating that perspective. These are giant people. I feel like they could have done a practical chopper and just like through cinematic, wizardry, added like a foot or two, made it like made Chopper a bigger thing, like a true like 8 foot tall situation instead of like a regular guy size.
Well, you gotta wait for that.
Well, there you go. I mean, maybe this is something that will morph over time. Maybe they don't see it as a problem at all. I think I'm probably being harsh, but this is something I think that's an easy
Okay, well,
point of criticism.
so here's something that's interesting that you just made me think, and I am going to give something away to you that, folks, sorry, I'm going to spoil something.
If you don't want to be spoiled for something down the line, then skip forward like 30 seconds.
Yeah, skip forward. So, end of the show, he pulls out that bottle with the balls in it. Those are called rumble balls.
Oh,
and
I'm glad that you brought up those balls because I was wondering if it had anything to do with the mystery of the spin.
No, nothing to do with the spin, unfortunately. Sorry, Joey Joestar. No spin here. No, it's this is another qualm I sort of have about the anime, but they'll probably get to it later. They explain more about devil fruits, like there are different categories of devil fruits.
Okay.
I'm not going to get into that right now. The point is that these rumble balls, through experimentation, Chopper has found a way to enhance his devil fruit ability. And one of the things that he can do, if he, I would say, overdoses on these rumble balls, is he turns into something called Monster Point, which is...
Okay. So there's another level, basically.
There is another level. And to be honest with you, I could see them maintaining, like, the actor, the frame, and, like, the Sasquatch form of, and then doing what they did with the Giants, because he is around the giant size when he does it.
Okay.
Slightly, like, in the anime, his frame is slightly different, but I could see them... Maybe the reason they chose to do it practically is because down the line, they're going to do the same thing they did with the Giants with Chopper as like... And if that's the case, maybe it might be a good choice, because if you were to do full CGI then, now I'm off the CGI train. I don't want enormous giant CGI.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like... we're gonna see.
Okay.
I still have it as a demerit too.
And that's it.
Line,
I'm glad that you brought that up, because I think that's also something I missed the first time around is those balls, in the jar. And yeah, it is something that if you don't know what's going on, it's just like, okay, I guess that'll be explained later. So it's good to know that is going to be followed up on. I wouldn't have thought that it would have been, around that, but that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it has to do with his devil fruit.
So we'll see. Let's see how they treat it in the next season and kind of go from there.
But for now, it's still a demerit because it's jarring.
It's a demerit because it's just something that I think a lot of people are going to talk about. Okay, number one, Tyler.
Number one, full episode flashback, guys. What are we doing? Why?
The full episode flashback, and I feel like this is something that happens more frequently than you would think, where it's the episode before the last episode, and that's when we choose to flashback.
Yeah, crazy.
And it's a tough one. I feel like it's one of the easiest ways to just take a lot of momentum out of the storytelling. And as we talked about, episode 6 has so much going on in such a short time period. There's a lot of momentum leading up to, where we're going. And then the way they choose to do 7 is it's like 95% flashback, but then like you have Correa coming in every now and then like, oh yeah, she's telling this as a story. And then I think you have an end tag where Dalton discovers the Wapol camp and gets shot with the arrows. Yeah. So you got like 5 minutes of progressing the modern day action, and then the rest of it is spent introducing you to the backstory of Chopper. It's really difficult with the amount of time that they had. Like, how do you do this? And we talked again off the pod a little bit about could they have with these 3 episodes, even if you're saying these 3 episodes are about this Drum Island and we got to get Chopper's backstory, was there a way to seed in elements of Chopper's past more piecemeal throughout instead of spending that entire episode 7? Could you have extended that episode, that first episode, episode 6 of the 3, to be spend 15 minutes on Chopper? I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. I think that it's just a tough predicament in general.
It is. It's ultimately the budget thing, dude. All of these things are coming down to, I think, budget and like episode allotment. If they had 10 episodes in the first season, they could have gone through Logtown. Like, so think about that. Like 10 episodes in the first season, they get to like the Grand Line. They get to the point where they're going to run into Reverse Mountain. Cool. Now we're starting season 2 with Laboon.
Yeah.
Now, so then, if we're going to do 10 episodes season 1, 12 season 2, you get the intro Laboon episode, which is fun and sort of exciting, but it brings you into Whiskey Peak. So you get like Laboon, Whiskey Peak 1 and 2. I would add another Whiskey Peak episode just because I think we deserve it. And then after Whiskey Peak, you have Little Garden for 2. I also think you need another episode for Little Garden, so that's 6 episodes so far. And then you get the 3 for Drum Island, add another one, then it's 10. You know what? Maybe we could keep it 10 and 10. They should have started with 10 episodes a season. It would have fixed the entire problem for me. But that's not up to us.
Yeah. Yeah, and what's funny is I think the series, when it was picked up, and obviously we've talked about there were a lot of delays due to strikes and COVID.
SAG-AFTRA.
Yeah, so...
But
I think
SAG-AFTRA, get your money. You deserve to strike. That was an appropriate thing to do.
I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying when this show was originally picked up,
it sounded
I think
like I was making a comment.
I think they had, very pro-capitalist, leaning from you on this episode.
I don't know what's going on.
Robber Baron Tyler over here.
I'm an oil man. The next one we're going to be watching is There Will Be Blood. Anyway, keep going.
No, I just I don't remember what I was saying, Tyler. I'm all in the.
And now you're into Robber Baron Tyler.
My bottom line now. But anyway, anything more to say about?
No, I just think
1?
Full episode flashback.
Yeah.
Sort of takes the wind out of your sails.
Sure.
Sorry, I'm
sailing.
I didn't mean to do that. Sometimes I just say things and they come out.
I'm just a nautical man.
Nautical man. Oh gosh.
All right, my number one.
I laughed so hard I got an eyelash in my eye.
You're falling apart.
I'm literally falling apart.
My number one, and this is something I mentioned, I think, in my just like overarching comments at the beginning. There was some ham-fisted exposition and ham-fisted setup, and this one in particular that made my number one felt like a bolted-on conversation just so we could approach this in a later season. It didn't really have any bearing on anything that we just saw in this season, and it was the conversation between Dalton and Correa at the very end where they, shoot the cherry blossom bomb into the sky and it's raining cherry blossoms down. You see the nice like thing, and then they're talking, and then all of a sudden, like unprompted, I can't remember if it's Dalton or Correa, but maybe it's Dalton, and he's like, maybe he really does have what it takes to find the one piece. And then he's like, just like Gold Roger. He reminds me a lot of, got a lot of vibes of Gold Roger. And then Correa's like, that's
is that what
they
they're
call
calling
him
him
now?
now?
Oh, I don't. Who are you talking about? Gold Roger? Because I know him as Gold D.
Roger.
Don't know about this Gold Roger. That's not what they called him back in my day. And then if that was it, it probably still would have made it on my list somewhere. But then, you got the real puncher here where she's like, yes, it seems like the will of D is strong with him.
I think I'm pretty sure she says something like that in the anime too. But it is ham-fisted. It's like... But that's one of those things that is like fan service for us. It's
I just think you could have deleted the Will of D piece, and you could have had the Gold D Roger thing. And I think to the average person watching, even if you are not locked in like that, the D would have caught your mind, and you would have thought, oh, Monkey D. Luffy, Gold D. Roger. There's a connection there.
Monkey
you don't
D.
need
Gawk.
to know about the Will of D. You literally don't need to expound on the Will of D. That could just be something that they bring up at a later time. You didn't need it at this end cap moment.
They're gonna.
I know they will.
They're never gonna explain it.
How I know that they're going to is because they included it here so that I would think about it. But they could have just done the Goldie Roger. I can draw those parallels in my own mind. And while I'm thinking about it, one other thing that really bothered me that we haven't talked about with our guy Here a Look, and it's not his fault. It's the script. I like a lot of TV shows where you show and don't necessarily tell. As he's finding Chopper for the first time, he's looking down at the footprints and he's actively narrating to himself. He's like, smaller footprints.
Yeah, big footprints.
Turning into larger footprints. Or, the opposite. He's like, large footprints that turn into smaller footprints. Oh, no. Here is a reindeer man wounded on the ground, bleeding. It's like, but he didn't really do that second part, Tyler. I know you thought,
but
he did.
No, I didn't.
That first bit, kind of took me out.
That actually was happening.
It's like this is just script writing, and they should have just made the decision to have him look at the footprints, look at the seconds, just have a camera shot showing it going from the big to the small.
You could literally change it to, what's this? And that's it.
Yeah.
With a shot of
it's just not everything needs a line. And I understand that, especially when you're converting an anime to a live action, anime over-explains all the time. You always have people in the background that are like, oh, look at what he just did because he has this power set, and that's surprising for this reason. You have that
I
stuff
never would have
all
expected that because he's known as the weakest of everybody. But it turns out his power is actually... stronger than
so I don't think they go all the way there, but there are these moments where it kind of pops up, and this Will of D, you could really feel just the writing on the page. I don't want to feel the writing like that, so that's my number one demerit.
I want to experience the writing.
Yeah, I just want to be here hanging out. And I don't want to be anywhere hanging out unless I can see some fights. So let's get to the top
let's get to the
fights, okay?
Yeah.
So I think there were a couple more than 5 fights. So we actually had to do a bit of a ranking this time.
Yeah,
So
kinda.
what's your number 5, Tyler? Your number 5 fight?
My number 5 fight is, you know how I section them off with like actual.
Yeah,
like
you're very granular about your fights.
Yeah, it's like technically Luffy Wapol, but it's like Luffy Vivi with Sanji support Wapol.
Yeah, like the final Wapol, piece where you got the old
It's
Gum aerial assault, I think they call it.
yeah,
A little tag team.
And the Sanji's table.
Well, that was in the henchman fight, right?
Yeah,
the whole handstand,
you're right.
whirly kick.
But they come in right after. It's like those sequences are lined up next to each other. They beat the henchman and come into the next room. Yeah, you're right, though. It was against the henchman. The point is that the Luffy Wapol fight I found to be fun, but definitely like the most lackluster of the fights.
This is a theme with Luffy for me, where he has the most like important fights, but they're not ever the most fun to watch.
Yeah.
They're like not ever my favorites, at least.
Yeah, in the anime it like works a bit differently, but specifically in these, he's been
I think part of it is probably because a lot of it has to happen in CGI, whereas when you got like your Zoro and Sanji, that's like actual like fight
it's
craft,
choreographed
and like actual real, fights that are a little bit more kinetic, I guess.
That's true. Luffy does fight the superpower people.
Yeah.
So
yeah, he fights the superpower people, and what I will say though, even though that made your number 5, it's actually my number 4. What I liked about it was a lot of the back and forth. I think it was probably
it's funny.
Like if I had to put this with the fight against Kuro or the fight against Arlong, I think this one is probably my favorite of those.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a fun room to be in. I like the castle chamber, like the throne room that they're in. There's a lot of just like stuff everywhere that, again, I think it's a nice like freeze frame where you can pick out certain fun things. I like that Vivi's involved and that she uses her like ring things that I swear I'm going to learn the name of her
No,
weapon.
you're not.
But like here it was very clear for the first time to me that it's coming out of her rings, which like for some reason didn't register with me initially. But she's using that, and they're both like kind of clamping down on his
big old hippo mouth.
Yeah. So I like that there was that teamwork and that she's involved. That felt like it was right. I do think it's funny that Nami, for all of these fights, is just kind of like lurking, hiding in the background, and like no real danger ever approaches her at all. Like she's never really in danger. She's just like there behind the table. Like maybe they could have added, like a little jeopardy though for Nami. Like
she's
Wapol
sick.
I love it how Wapol is just like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna blow up this flag, and it's like, why didn't you just like threaten this human being that's like lying here on the ground? I don't know. It's like Wapol. A very hilarious and evil man. Okay, so that was your 5, my 4. My 5 is Hero Look versus the Guards.
Mine's my 4. That's my 4. I called it Hero Look's Last Stand.
Yeah. I mean, you have to bring up how this all starts, which is Chopper comes back in from the Valley of Death with the mushroom, is all beat up, and
I found
it. And Hiruluk eats the soup, and he's like,
"It's bitter, but that means it's
bad.
working.
But that means it's good." And then he's like, "Well, I'm off to do my business," and he's just packing his suitcase, just like plopping those grenades everywhere. They're just like rattling around, and it's like that seems pretty dangerous, especially since
and then
they
he
literally
just starts like throwing him over the wall, and like
he's got fantastic aim. Like
has no regard for who he's throwing them at.
No.
It does not matter. He's like, oh.
I mean, when you think about the staff of a castle like that, there's got to be people in there again, just kind of earning a paycheck and just the tough. Like, basically just assuming he's going to have to fight his way in. They would probably have escorted him in. I mean, they wouldn't have let him keep all of his grenades. That's one thing.
No,
so
I guess they'd confiscate those.
Yeah, but it's like they're looking for doctors, just to have them. So he would have gotten probably to the same place, just minus the grenades. And so I guess the effect wouldn't have been there. So I do support, his decision and to go out with a bang like he did. But yeah, there's nothing like those first few grenades coming over the wall and just like, just what is going on? Like those guards like had to just be like,
they're like, what?
Where attacked?
It's a doctor?
It would have been better if Hiraluk like threw out some doctor puns, just like Miss Thursday with the baseball stuff.
You missed your appointment.
It's just like, here's a prescription for you.
You should have called 24 hours in advance.
Take one of these with breakfast.
Ask your primary care physician.
Because Correa, she made a lot of medical jokes, usually about billing. She was like, I'll bill you for this later. I'll add it to your bill. And, Nami added the coat to the bill.
Yeah.
They could have some fun, like talking about, I guess I'll have to get insurance on the exchange, Just, especially since they're talking about blood types and astrology. Just add in some Obamacare refs. I think people would really get into that.
I missed the sign up for the ACA. Am I still covered for this witch doctor?
It's like, remember your copay. Boom. I thought I had a copay, but it was just coinsurance.
That's not an accepted provider.
More medical jargon. All right. So I think we did both of our 4s and 5s, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's true. My number 3 is Smoker and Tashigi versus Thursday and 11.
Okay. So you lumped all that together.
Yeah, I figured because,
Yeah.
You were gonna
I feel like
them.
Tashigi versus 11 took like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
It's Tashigi just like named his blade.
Yeah.
And
outclassed
she's
him.
like, hey, you can't have this. That's one of 50 like super duper awesome blades. And it's my whole thing where I decide, who can have them and who can't. You can't have it.
I choose who gets the swords.
Yeah, so she made pretty quick work of 11, who was kind of a
and the Smoker moment where
guy.
he just like hits the ball back and it cracks her neck.
I mean, that's exactly what needed to happen. Smoker is the GOAT. I don't know what to say about Smoker.
I don't know what to say. And there's nothing more that needs to be said.
I did enjoy Thursday, even though obviously, if you know me, I have questions about like baseball's existence in this universe, and like she's just popping a lot of baseball puns in there and various wordplay where it's like not only does baseball exist, but like they have a lot of the same things in their baseball that's in our baseball. She's got to catch his mitt, and she's again with these Baroque Works agents, they don't have enough time to show them actually doing stuff well, so all you see with them is them just getting absolutely rocked. And this is another example of that, where 11 and Thursday go out and they didn't
get
really
absolutely
land any blows.
torn up.
And we're talking about it now, Tyler, but I'm just going to tell you right now, my number 1 was Smoker versus Thursday.
Of course it was. Why would your man be any lower than 1?
Oh man, Tyler. The Smoker stuff just really worked for me. And,
it always does.
Just him getting kind of the last word in, saying like, "I guess you're on the bench now," or whatever he said.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Now you got me doing it." I just love that whole sequence.
Great
I think
delivery.
that it was my favorite fight to watch, and just the concept of someone's weapon being a baseball is very funny. It's like when he walks into the scene and he sees kind of the aftermath of whatever this is. The first people that they see that are dead on the ground all have sword
slashes.
sword
and
wounds
it's like this
and
is
slashes.
this is the straw hats.
And then you get down there into the communications area, and like it's clearly not sword work. You see the dead snail with like a bludgeoning wound of some sort. So you're like, what happened here? And then quickly you find out it was all baseballs. People just got baseballs thrown at them. It's like she started throwing them, and then you have to imagine that people were like, hey, don't throw that. And then they got one.
No. I throw what I want.
Well, at least you only have one baseball. I have multiple balls.
Multi-ball.
But did she? I think she did only have one, and it kind of like always came back. It's like a boomerang ball.
Oh, I love boomerang ball.
Yeah. But Smoker just like knocked it out of the park. Line drive right into the skull.
You can't do both. You can't knock it out of the park and hit a line drive to the skull. You got to pick one.
Well, it would have been out of the park had her skull not been, in the way. It's like kind of like when you hit the pitcher. That's exactly what happened there. He's
sort of a Schrodinger's home run.
He's not allowed at any of the corporate baseball games for this reason. He just always hits it right into the head of the pitcher.
All right, if that was your one,
that was my one. Yeah, I absolutely.
And so what's your three?
My number 3 was the townspeople and Zorro and Usopp versus the horror show. So
that was my number 1.
Okay, well that's perfect.
We can just talk about it now.
Let's talk about it now. So I mentioned I just loved these horrible, metal creatures. I think that was probably some of the most fun. I think we talked about it last time as a Cronenberg, type situation.
Yeah, very Cronenberg.
Yeah, so it was a lot of fun just seeing the different creatures. I think there were 5 or 6 distinct creatures that were there. I wish that there were more just because it was a lot of fun. You get initially... like Zorro, I think, stabs the pig guy, and then Usopp has his sure kill Firestar, and then he makes the comment after it's like, didn't you hear me say sure kill or something? Because the guy, doesn't really affect him at all. Yeah. And I think he shoots it at the Raven Mantis guy.
Mantis. Ooh,
so you get the idea.
Call me that from now on.
It's just like they're invulnerable. Like they can't really do anything to them. So before you understand that they're all going to fall down when Wapol goes out, again, it's like really bleak. Like
it seems
a lot of
like
the
it's about to
townspeople are
be.
Just getting absolutely rocked. Like some of them get like straight up killed.
Yeah, you think that they're going to have a good showing, and they do not.
No, it's like really probably the first time since the duel with Mihawk where it's like, wow, there's like absolutely nothing you can even do.
Yeah.
And it just probably the best, like the most impressive action sequences here from just a logistical standpoint. And again, I think it'd be interesting to see how much of the soldier people, how much of that is practical and how much of it happens after the fact, as they're doing that sequence.
I feel like there is a good degree of practicality. I do want to add just one thing. I thought the Dalton blitz thing where he's on all fours and he runs. I think it was Cannon Head that he runs into, but so I know that it wasn't supposed to be funny. But I was like, wow, he is really flying on all fours. This is hilarious. And it was
Dalton
one of those
hasn't showed up in a lot of
One Piece things that I like it.
I feel like we haven't talked a lot about Dalton because he's definitely not the most interesting person to talk about. He's very stoic. and very like just even. And honestly, he was almost in a category of our guy from last season, Genzo, the ineffective sheriff of Cocoa Village for me, until it turns out he's a bison man or
Bison
an ox
man.
guy, you know? Because, like, right when that
Or a
happens, I'm like,
Buffalo
okay,
Bill.
there we go. I love how they don't explain it either. Like, I believe in my research it's because he ate the ox fruit, but like they don't talk about it at all. It's just like he gets shot with 3 arrows, he's captured, and then he can just break through the ropes, by turning into an ox. Why didn't he do that earlier before he was brought to Wapple? I have no idea, but yeah, he's an ox man, and it's helpful to have him on their side, and yeah, a lot of fun in that. Sequence. I think there's some good Zoro work, not the best. Some good Usopp work, not the best. So that's why for me, it's not number one. Maybe because I think in this season alone, there's better Zoro. Obviously at Whiskey Peak, there's better Usopp in Little Garden.
Yeah, that's true.
They're almost the afterthoughts in this Drum Kingdom section, where they're just kind of like hanging out around town while everybody else is kind of progressing the plot at the castle. So, and then you have that one villager who's like the main second in command girl. And one thing I also
she's
have
like,
to
we're
mention,
here to help.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. It's like, we're not defenseless. Like, we can hold our own. And it's almost, again, parallel to Cocoa Village, where it's like, anytime you have a bunch of citizens with like rakes and various, it's like, you guys should just go hide and like let the real people with real weapons.
Have you seen Beauty and the Beast? Do you remember what happens when the town goes in? It's like, kill the beast, kill the beast. And that's just a bunch of furniture people. They didn't even come out. They didn't do well. They didn't come out of that good. You have mutant people in this.
So let me ask, Tyler, what do you have at your number 2?
It's Chopper and Sanji versus Chess and
that's what I have at my number 2 as well. So we both already kind of
Kuramarum.
gone over. I think our 1s and 3s were flipped to something.
Yeah,
and
that's what it is.
So basically, at number 2, I think if I take my smoker
Your
colored
bias
glasses off, I think this was probably the best fight. Not only because, again, some of the practical fight elements of anytime Sanji's in a fight, it's gonna have just some kung fu flavor to it, which
really cool
is
stuff.
probably the best stuff to watch. The swordplay from Zoro and the kung fu stuff from Sanji, I think, is always the easiest path to a
incredibly
good fight.
exciting. Yeah.
Nami again is just there, kind of like chilling. You do get heavy point Chopper and like all the criticisms that come with it, but one thing I will say as a positive for the heavy point Chopper is I appreciated the level of detail where when he would smash down, like they had the blocks like shatter and stuff. Like, so there was attention to detail. And then these henchmen, I think it gets to a point in the fight where you're just like, oh, well, they're going to have no problem against these guys. And then all of a sudden the static afro hair, like
it
just
comes out.
that wrinkle of it. It's like, and I think they asked him about why is he taking his hair out?
Yeah, why is he pulling his hair out? It's like the static sticks you to whatever. Yeah, so good.
Yeah, I love it. That's the kind of over-explanation that works. Like that was the perfect example of like in a sentence, like he explains his power and like it works. Like his vibe is totally correct. It's just like the static cling of my afro is a super adhesive.
The static cling of my afro. It's like it's like that.
yeah. It's like perfect the way that they execute it here. And then the best part of the sequence is they get in a bad position. The bowman guy ends up shooting flaming arrows at them, and then they use that to their advantage. Right after, by the way, the henchmen are like, "You guys,
you don't have teamwork.
You don't have teamwork at all.
Here.
We have teamwork." And then basically they're just like, "How is this for teamwork?" And basically once the flaming arrows are coming at them, they use it to get free of one of the Afro Clingies, and then Chopper like lifts Sanji out of his shoe that's still stuck to the ground, and then Sanji does his, I think it's like party table course kick,
Round
something.
table course. Yeah, it's.
Let me control F for table, and I'll find it. Party table kick course, which is
Party table
basically
kick course.
a spinning handstand kick, and sends them flying into that massive science experiment thing.
Yeah.
So
it's pretty cool.
And
it's only cool when you
I will
name
say
your
that
moves.
Sanji has the best named move so far in the series. He's got the one that was very, very French in the first season. Can't remember. He had like a few different sections to that one. That was like his first one, and then the party table kick course I enjoyed. And then he also takes part.
Gets some really fun ones too.
Yeah, so
he maintains some French for some of them.
Yeah, I like it. So that was my number 2, your number 2. So that's all the fights. I think
those are the fights.
The one I had as an honorable mention was in one of yours already, the Tashigi versus 11. I just thought it was real short, so it didn't make my top. And then I also, for a second, had listed there, the fight against the elements going up the mountain. But, it's
I also had an honorable mention of, this is my first fight.
I was
like, oh, that's funny.
I think that was probably like that couple of seconds was maybe the best Hero Look Chopper stuff.
Yeah.
When Chopper's like really mad, I think like that's when I really appreciated the Michaela Hoover voice work the most.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
You could have killed me. Just like whatever she does to get that, it's not a rasp, but like
gravel.
She gets
I know
into
what
this
you're talking
pocket of like how she does the voice that is very impressive to me.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. It's one of those things. It's like, not that I have any experience in voice acting. I just watch like interviews with people. It's like, say it like you're running up a flight of stairs. Say it like you're falling down. Say it like you're truly angry at this man. It's like it's not easy to convey emotion when you're not actually doing the movements and you're not actually in a room with the person. There's a lot of things actors get from one another, and to be in a voice studio performing like that at such a high level is very impressive.
I have one question before we get to awards, Tyler.
Okay, Jackie.
Chopper's hat.
Yeah.
How do the antlers poke out? Because he just pulls it out of a box. He can't have been prepared for the antlers.
They just fit. They just fit just right, Jackie.
It's like a marvel of physics, that hat. It's like,
I think there's holes in it.
Here's a hat. I mean,
I don't even.
that's a lot of luck. I'm not gonna belabor this, but it's just when he put it on, I'm just like,
it's just.
Okay.
Well, how did you get it on
That's
the first?
Fine. Your
You're right.
Just pop out of it. It's not even your hat.
I think I gotta make sure. I feel like
someone's gonna have some answer, and they're gonna be like, "It's because of the human fruit, and it makes it so that you could have magic holes in your hats." That's canon.
Every single time you have a hat, it has
it's
holes
a magic
in it.
hat.
It's magic.
Well, we are getting to our awards here, Tyler.
Yeah, we are getting to it. It doesn't look like there's an answer on the internet for your question either.
We'll figure it out someday.
No, we won't.
Or not. The Strangers in the Night Award for the best cameo or feature. Someone who was around in this batch of episodes and probably won't be back. Or something. Who do you have?
Well, I picked Katie Seagal. She is my
our old Dr.
for the cameo, because I couldn't put her in chairman of the board because
that's a good shot.
Yeah, it's like if I'm going to put a name anywhere, it's going to be in the cameo.
I know who your chairman of a board is based on that. But
I mean, of course. There's only one honest.
Because my Strangers in the Night Award goes to Hero Look.
Yeah.
And as a guy who will probably not be around anymore except in flashback, but but probably not anymore. Yeah, just the most important to the 3-episode arc. You heard his voice at the end. He kind of gave the thesis for, what the Jolly Roger means. It's one of the first people that you hear as well in the series expounding on what does it mean to be a pirate, which I think is actually helpful for people, again, that are coming in cold and still don't understand why are there good pirates and bad pirates, and
Right. It's
what
like
do
pirates
mean
are
in this
just
world.
all I know about pirates are look at me.
Yeah.
I am the captain now. That's all I know about pirates. But you have heard of me.
Yeah, exactly.
Those are the only pirates I know.
My honorable mention in this category is Wapol. I feel bad not being able to award Wapol. I just don't think I can not give Hero Look his own award. The Me and My Shadow Award for the best pair, Tyler.
Best pair is Chopper and Hero Look, Jackie.
Yeah,
How can you
you're
do
correct.
the father-son
I had to, absolutely.
dynamic with the Harry and the Hendersons? We don't want you anymore.
Yeah,
of course you do.
Again, Hero Look, it's like you love him, but like when you kind of go blow by blow, he makes a lot of errors, and it's like he didn't need to do that.
He's human. That's not his fault, Jackie. Everyone makes mistakes.
He can't watch me die. What'll be better for him is the only person that's ever loved him, just like all of a sudden telling him to leave forever right when we get back home. Like they were right outside the freaking place.
After a big talk.
Oh,
a big, long talk about freedom.
Yeah, they definitely get the Me and My Shadow Award. Chairman of the board, Tyler. Who is it?
It's Dr. Hero Look, Jackie.
There it is.
As much as you're going to give it to Smoker.
Don't give it away.
And as much as I had a problem with a full episode of Flashback, the actor, Mark Herlick, playing Dr. Herlick, absolutely knocked it out of the park. I think every emotional scene is driven by the fact that it has his backing. Like you can't emote at the end of this arc with the cherry blossom over the island. It doesn't mean anything if Hero Look doesn't give the performance that he does. And it is truly like the standout, I think, performance of the entire season. If I had to pick one person who just like absolutely astounded me with their performance, it would be Dr. Hero Look. He is, in my opinion, like shot for shot, minute for minute, the best content that's on the screen the entire season.
Yeah, so I'm going to take everything you just said, delete the name Dr. Hero Look, and put in Captain Smoker, because Captain Smoker is that guy for me. Every time he's on screen, it is just the best stuff you've ever seen. Everything he does is cool. Every time he's riding his motorcycle, dragging guys out of the water, whatever, knocking it out of the park. He's just a talented man, and again, he was in even less of these episodes than Hero Look, and for me, it was just the stuff that I keep thinking about and talking about over and over again. Smoker's my guy. Bring
every
on the
little
Smoker
thing
show.
He does it, Smoker.
I'm telling you, get Smoker at his own show. I would watch it. I don't need any of these other people in it. Just copy paste. Like, copy and paste Smoker into just, like, regular New York City or something and have him solving crimes, and, like, I'm thrilled about it. Just have him on Law & Order. Just like, don't,
and then he, like, smokes in on this.
Oh,
I hear you have a special victim.
Not so special, is she?
Oh, now you got me doing it.
All right. So there's the awards. Now let's give our full season rating. We've seen all these episodes. What is your final ranking out of 5 Franks? And that's,
Jackie.
5 Frank Sinatras here. Doing our official rating.
Official rating.
Season 2.
Season 2. My official ranking is 4 francs, Jackie. It's got to get 4. I thought about, honestly, it's one of those things where I was on the fence, and I told myself when we did the podcast, I said if I was point 0.1, point 0.2 over if I say it's going to be 3, but it's like 3.1, 3.2, no. We're just going to give it the 4 because to split hairs like that, if it's pushed up above a 3, and I think it is closer to a 4. It's like above a 3.5 for me, but I'm not giving halves. We're giving it a 4. It's a 4, Jackie, because of the love for One Piece, even though I think pacing issues are a thing and there are problems. Nothing's perfect, but I really did enjoy it. So 4.
Yeah. I'm also giving it a 4. I think that this is a tenuous 4. I think it started off, honestly, with the first couple episodes. I think it was looking like a stronger 4. I think we ended the season at not quite as strong of a 4. And like you said, if we're given like decimal point rankings, it might have ended up more like a 3.75 for me. But nothing could take it down to a 3 for me. And
Right.
if I remember correctly, I think I might have given season 1 a 3. And I'll have to revisit that at a later time. But for me, this one is a 4. I don't know how else to say it. It's a 4. It just doesn't do enough wrong, despite us listing these demerits. None of them can take it down lower than a 4 for me. And I'm excited about where we're going in season 3, which looks like Alabasta. I want to see some ducks. Okay, I want to see some giant ducks,
big ducks.
Did you see when Wapol? One thing we didn't mention about Wapol, he dissed the ducks.
He did. I got very angry.
Yeah, he was dissing those ducks.
It's just
so that's
very
One
mean.
Piece, Tyler. One Piece season 2.
One Piece
It's in the
season
bag.
2. We did it.
And
Bag it up. Take it to go.
We've kind of covered all of these episodes now for the first 2 seasons of the live action. So, the next thing, the only next place to go with the One Piece stuff is into other material. So what that'll be, I'm not quite so sure yet. Next week, what are we doing, Tyler? I just have a bunch of question marks here on
There's
my
a bunch
document.
of question marks.
Bunch of question
Jackie,
marks on what we're doing. Where are we going?
I have a suggestion.
Okay.
There's this show that's being produced by a studio called Glitch. It's on YouTube, but it's also available, I believe, on Netflix and on Amazon Prime. The show is called The Amazing Digital Circus. Now, there are already 8 episodes out. They're about 30 minutes a pop. But the finale and the 9th episode is about to be released in theaters before the full release, but in theaters on June 4th with a combination of the 8th episode and the final episode, so you can watch a little bit of a double feature. I think that would be a fun thing for us to start getting into because I enjoy it, and it won't be too far of a jog from our...
I think it's
like
very
live action
obtainable as
One
well.
Piece.
I think that, the 30-minute time frame and there being so few episodes sounds like something we can do. So next week, we're going to start with our first coverage of the Amazing Digital Circus. Now, how many are we going to do? Probably at least 2 episodes at a time. We'll talk about it during the week, but we'll probably go 2 per episode leading up to the finale. And then anything else that pops up along the way, if we happen to get another Steel Ball Run episode, we're definitely going to bring that back in.
we'll put it in.
And then if you're listening to this and you want us to cover something, suggest it, okay? We watch a lot of TV. We're not going to talk about everything that we watch here necessarily. Like I'm watching The Pit right now. I just watched that show on Netflix that was... what was it called? It was like a horror show on Netflix. Something very bad is going to happen. I really enjoyed that. So if you want us to cover something, talk about it on the show here, something new or something, from the recent past, something adjacent to One Piece, other stuff that you watch, when you're a One Piece person and you like this other stuff, just let us know. There's a lot of content out there, and we got to know where to focus. But we're going to start with the Amazing Digital Circus.
We're not picky. We like animated stuff. We like live stuff. We like everything. We like horror. We like romance. Anything. We can watch anything.
We can watch anything, and we're going to watch
Except
it here.
if it has Jackie in it. I don't want to see Jackie in any of my stuff.
Well, too bad, because I'm working on a special project where I'm a doctor.
Stop putting the whole movies on in front of me.
I want to be a doctor.
Watch my TV.
I'm going to be the third doctor on Drum Island, You're going to have Correa, you're going to have Here a Look, and then it's going to be me, too. And
Jackie Sinatra.
Yeah.
MD.
I'm terrible with HIPAA laws, folks. I just kind of give out the information.
You want to know something about someone? I'm going to tell you.
I'll tell you exactly what's wrong with this person right now. Gather round, everybody. You're going to want to hear this.
It's gout.
Now you can go back.
Everybody stop listening. It's all it is, yeah.
All right. That is it for us today. Thank you for listening to the Brothers Sinatra podcast. I'm Jack Sinatra.
And I'm Kyla Sinatra.
And we're
the Brothers Sinatra.
Take care, everybody.
Bye.